MMA Weekly, we're sitting down with UFC heavyweight superstar Daniel Cormier.
Oh, you're so nice.
Yeah, well, you got to be in this job. Can't be pissing you guys off. You're a lot bigger and tougher than us. All right, we're not too far down from the showdown with Mr. Roy Nelson. This went from cute, cuddly, and playful to kind of real animosity overnight. You know, you want to run us through that and the beard, and then him making the comments about obviously your weight cut and stuff.
Yeah.
Did it feel that way to you? Kind of going from cool to not cool?
Well, you know what, man? I think when you take a shot at a guy's beard, then it's open season, you know. So I think he kind of just went back at me like I did at him, and yeah, you know, for me it kind of sucks, you know, to hear that, but whatever, you know. But I can actually try and get his beard shaved. So even though he can hurt me with his words, actions can actually hurt him because they can actually make him shave his beard.
Well, you know, you said it hurt, but at the same time, doesn't that maybe give you a little, I mean, not necessarily that you need the motivation, but that whole punch a hole through his face a little bit more, get you a little more amped up to fight him?
I like to say that in reality, most people, adults, even kids now, because they're putting kids in jail for fighting at school, but as adults, you most times have to talk through your problems. We are in a business, a rare business, that if two adults have an issue, the UFC sets a date, and those two adults go into a cage and they figure it out. And Roy and I are going to get to do that in a week and a half.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Has there been any word on the beard capade 2013?
Beardgate has not been finalized yet. So I'm still trying. I don't know what's going to happen though.
We'll find out the night of the fight, right?
Yeah, if Roy comes out with a nice little lineup, you'll know that I won. If he comes out looking like Roy, then
that was because of me.
That was, boys, I did that. The reason Roy Nelson's so clean is because I made him get clean.
All right, next question, and this made some headlines. This was kind of a big deal. Jon Jones saying that you weren't a worthy contender or opponent.
You know, man, I've actually tried not to talk about this guy, being that I have a fight. You know, it is what it is. I'm not going to pay attention to that. You know, Roy Nelson's the only thing on my mind right now, and if I learned anything from that situation is not to look past or look forward when you have somebody standing in front of you, because look at what it got him. So
that's fair, but you also realize you're a very integral key in the 205-pound division and also a heavyweight division, right?
Well, I mean, I'd like to be. You know, I still got some weight to lose, but I'm well on my way.
Well, I remember you said you wanted another fight before we talked about 205, and this is that fight.
This is that fight, yeah. So this will be my last heavyweight fight.
You still feel like that? You still feel like you cut the weight you needed to? You were about.
Yes, I'm in a perfect position now where I think I can make the weight.
Okay, okay. Would you like a warm-up fight before potentially?
Well, I think I have to.
Okay.
Because Jon has a fight scheduled, and the division, that division is not going to wait for me.
And
you know, all I said.
You've always been about staying.
Yes, all I said was I would like to fight for the championship, and I would ask to fight for the championship. The division has moved forward. Glover Teixeira's fighting for the belt, and you know what? He deserves it.
Yeah, I was just saying, what do you think about that matchup?
He deserves the fight, man. He's won 20 fights in a row, I think, and he's 5-0 in the UFC. He deserves the fight. I was going to ask if they said yes. Great. They said no, then I would fight whoever they put in front of me.
You took a late path to MMA.
Yes, I did.
You had a very storied career prior to that. Has this all kind of worked out the way you thought? Has this journey been, or has there been surprises along the way?
There's been some surprises. I think it's happened a little faster than I thought. You know, I mean, I'm 34 years old, and I started at 30. You know, I was almost 31. So to be in a cage standing across from Bigfoot Silva at less than 2 years into my career was probably the biggest surprise, especially at the time because he was riding so high from the Fedor fight and getting that win and then beating Josh Barnett. You know, all that stuff has meant so much to me. You know, so I anticipated success. I just didn't think it would be to this level this fast. I mean, I've had 12 fights in 4 years, and you know, 9 of those fights have been in the UFC and Strikeforce.
I want to jump back to Roy real quick. Just, yeah, he's a tough guy. Obviously, he's heavy-handed. How do you view the opponent, the matchup? It's a lot of people, you were talking about this earlier, focus, not looking past someone. I think to a lot of people, he's been up and down. He's sometimes a 500 fighter. I think a lot of people could say this is a fight you could look past.
You know, as a professional athlete, you can't look past anyone. Roy Nelson could put me out with one punch. I'm fully aware of that. Roy Nelson could submit me. Roy Nelson could put me in a crucifix, as he did to everybody on The Ultimate Fighter. I've been watching him since then. So I think it's a great matchup. He presents a lot of problems for me because He's my size. He's not tall, so he's gonna be a little harder to take down. He's got very good jiu-jitsu, which will balance out my wrestling. And not only does he do that well, he gets up very well. So I will have to be in better shape, because if I'm going to take him down, I've got to do it over and over again, because he has a tendency to get right back up.
Also one of the more tougher guys.
And he's durable. So it's he presents a lot of problems. It's going to be a tough fight for me.
Aside from the championship, what other things are you trying to accomplish in this journey?
Well, my short-term goal now is to beat Roy Nelson, obviously, and also to win by finish. And if I don't want to lose a round to him, because then that will continue my streak of rounds. I haven't lost a round.
Right.
To continue to dominate, to continue to get better and round out my skills as a mixed martial artist. I've got some goals outside of the cage too now, with the analyst stuff and the commentary. Continue to push myself into that arena, and then just continue to get better in all aspects of the game, and be focused. I think focus is a word that we use, and we don't necessarily live by it. You can kind of look past or look further down the line and look at the big picture and lose track of the fact that it's all the little things that makes the big picture. It's like a puzzle. You have to have this piece in order to build the whole puzzle. So I want to continue to be focused, as I have throughout my career.
How much was that kind of prior to your amateur experience? Is that one of those?
That's lessons? A lot of stuff from wrestling. Because if you looked, when I was wrestling in college, Olympics, if I wasn't preparing for the U.S. National Championships, I couldn't make the world team. So I had to stay focused on those certain goals, and I think wrestling really helped, because you were able. I had to focus on the whole competition, because I didn't know exactly who I was competing against. So it helps,
Speaking of wrestling, see the shirt?
Yeah.
The
grind continues.
Yeah,
2020.
Just talk about that battle, the amazement that first of all, they would even think about nixing one of the Olympic rings, but then the day they voted it in, and you guys had so much to do, cage fighter, all that stuff, but just MMA in general, pushing that movement to try and save something that not only is it important on a global scale, it's important on an MMA scale.
It really is.
It's the only real direct way a high school kid can get in and help himself if he wants to have a career in MMA.
It's true. Some people we felt a lot of relief that the sport got put back, but then you got to kind of take a step back and think, did they really did the Olympic Committee really do wrestling a favor? No. They did what they were supposed to do. Wrestling has been in the Olympics forever. It's where it belongs, and it should be an Olympic sport. And so I think they just kind of got it right. It seemed so wrong from the moment that they said wrestling was not going to be in the Olympics anymore.
So it almost wasn't like a victory. It still almost stings still that it even happened. Like a bad nightmare.
It kind of sucks that it even happened. It is a victory, obviously, to get put back on the, but it was more just the idea that it happened in the first place that seems so ridiculous.
Yeah. I want to jump back to the analyst thing real quick. You're kind of doing what I'm doing. You're sitting back, and aside from being an armchair quarterback and all that stuff, you actually get in there. But what has that angle taught you? What have you learned from doing the analyst job? Because it's got to be a whirlwind of experience.
I've learned a ton from it, actually, because you start to look at fights from a different perspective. I'm not only watching it as an athlete, but I'm watching it as an analyst. Watching these guys, I get to watch fights from the best fighters in the world. Every time I go and do those Fox shows, there's 13 fights on the card, and I've got to watch those guys fight all 2 times at least to be prepared to speak on them. Because, when you're in that chair, you're the professional. You have to come off as knowing what you're talking about. So I watch all those guys fight, and I'm learning from guys, but I'm learning from guys that people may not have ever heard from.
Example?
Just
undercard fighters.
Undercard fighters. Before Uriah fought, Uriah Alcantara. Nobody really knew who he was, but I had seen him fight 3 times because I had to watch him before his fight prior to Uriah. I'm like, man, this dude's good. This is going to be a tough fight for Uriah. So you learn from guys like that.
People kind of forget that you're human. They forget that you guys have families and kids and a real life outside of this. The grind is, I don't know what, I haven't lived it, but I've been around it. It's strenuous.
It's what we do on a day-to-day basis is it's unreal. By the end of training camps, all you want to do is get in the cage so that you don't have to come to practice for a little bit, you know, like, and it's not like we're not going to be in here. Right after my fight, I'm going to be back. I'm going to be training, but it's not so focused. You know, I'm just going to be trying to get better. It's not going to be all solely based on what I have to do to fight Roy Nelson. So, yeah, man, we've got tough day-to-day lives. I mean, I'm going to go home to 2 kids right now. You know, I'm not going home to sleep and, you know.
Grand Theft Auto 5.
Well, hey, my Grand Theft Auto 5 time is once those kids go to bed at 9 o'clock. I'm up sitting in my chair till about 11 playing GTA every night. So,
who's your favorite character?
You know what, man? I like Trevor. He's crazy. What's wrong with that dude?
It's my spirit animal. I love that guy.
Dude's insane.
He kind of gets lost in translation is like the personality aspect. What are some things about Daniel Cormier that maybe the fans would be surprised to hear? We know you love GTA. We know you love
I do. I love video games.
He's a Trevor guy. He loves video
games. I love video games. That's one thing. I read a lot. That's one thing. I read a lot. Like I read a lot. That's probably the thing that people wouldn't. I was going somewhere with Rosendo, my boxing coach, and he goes, "Man, you reading everything?" I go, "Yeah, a lot." So they come into my room whenever we're in Los Angeles doing my stuff, and you know, instead of just sitting there watching TV, you know, I'm most times reading a book and stuff, and that kind of surprises people that I stick my face in the book as well. Because I didn't like school one bit.
But now.
But I do like reading. Like I like James Patterson, so all those suspense novels and thrillers, they're really good. I like them a lot, you know. So yeah, I read a lot.
It's one of those things that I think people stop doing for some reason.
Why?
I don't know.
It's because of the iPad.
Kindles and iPads.
You know, I would much rather read a book too. I do the iPad thing because sometimes the books come out a little earlier. But I would much rather pick one up when I'm in the airport. And we spend a lot of times in the airport, so I'll grab about 3 books at a time and just take them with me when I travel.
Absolutely, and the travel is more now that you're an analyst. And
yeah, I'm busy, man. It is not good. I'm telling you, my girlfriend does not like all the travel.
Or the interviews, apparently. She's rigging you.
She's like, it's 2:30. She's like, it's 2:30. You better get home.
All right, Daniel. Well, you know, we're just a few days removed, so I really appreciate the time. I know this isn't easy. I know you've done plenty of these interviews, so best of luck in your fight with Roy, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.